Oh, yes. Hi, Broadway.com. Come on in. I'm just peeling glue off my eyelash. It's part of the glamorous life I have here at Wicked. Well, I usually get in here about an hour and a half before, mainly because I do my own makeup. I don't have somebody do it for me, like a certain green girl. And I never did well in makeup class at school, so I do my own. What I've got on now is base, and I have an Elmer's glue stick on my eyebrows. No plug for Elmer's, but this is what we use. Basically, this is, I'm looking kind of Elizabethan in this first act thing. So I am what used to be soaping out your eyebrows, but we do the glue stick. It makes it lay down, and then I have to take this hazy lavender powder and put it on. I had done Wicked in Chicago for about 2.5 years, and then I left to do August Osage County. Oh, there's my Tony up there for August Osage County. It just happens to be on the top shelf. To remind me to keep up my standards. I won the Tony. I got back in the car with my dog and drove from New York to Chicago, and I was back in Wicked, Chicago, you know, a week after I'd won a Tony. It was kind of an out-of-body experience. But anyway, when I got there, on the door of my dressing room, I didn't have the Tony yet. I had left it to be engraved and shipped and everything. And on my door was, "Shut up, I have a Tony." So he was in my dressing room at Wicked, and that's where he's always been. And then right behind my Tony, I have a Stony, which is the only award of its kind so far that has been given from David Stoner, wonderful producer, who gave that to me when I left Wicked in Chicago. To go to London with August, and then he said, "You have to come to Broadway and make up your time." I went, "I can do that." So here I am, painting my big face on Broadway. When I'm in real life, I look like a big schlub because I don't like to wear makeup because I wear so much of this. And also, you know, I'm a dog mom, so when I go out, I'm in the schlubbiest clothes, and, you know, I'll never get a date. But, you know, nobody wants to date Madame Morrible anyway. I'm embarrassed to say I knew nothing about Wicked. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I was doing my first Shakespeare play in Chicago. I was doing Romeo and Juliet with Mark Lamos, who I was so excited to be working with, and I was doing my first legitimate Shakespeare down at Chicago Shakespeare, which is a fabulous theater, and I was so excited. And then I get this call, "They want you to audition for Wicked, it's a musical, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I don't have time to do that, I'm doing Shakespeare. And, you know, "Well, come on, we think you'd be great." And I said, "Look, I have to hire a voice coach, I have to sing." I had a debacle of a audition for Thoroughly Modern Millie. I told you I wasn't going to do that anymore, and I know it's a childhood dream, but clearly I'm not meant to be in musicals, even though I want to be in musicals. So I just, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. By the time I went in, I thought, there's no way I'm going to get it, so I'll just have fun. And I walked in the door, and the whole creative team was there. You know, Stephen Schwartz and Joe Mantello and Winnie Holzman and David, they were all there, and I was like, oh my God! I walked out, and I was in there all of 7 minutes. I walked out, I got on the plane, went back to Chicago. And by the time I landed, I had an offer. And I was flabbergasted, to say the least. And then, of course, I had already booked 4 plays ahead of time in Chicago. So I had to drop out of 4 plays. That really endeared me to a lot of people. I'm putting on my eyelash, which is tricky, and I made my makeup artist, Jimmy, do it. So when he puts it on you, he makes it seem like it's really easy. And I went, okay, you know what? Put one on yourself and see how you do. And he was like, oh, it's really hard. This is kind of old school British, in a way, almost opera makeup, this, because from the distance from the, it looks really strange close up, but from the audience and from the stage, it's, you can't even tell this stuff is going on, but it gives a dimension of depth and exotic and strange at the same time. It's painting. It's essentially painting. Now here's a really scientific technique that Jimmy taught me. Take a card. He's much better at it than me, but it gives you a definition, a straighter line. And this is contouring, but as he said, you don't want it to look too contoury, so we have to go in then and really make sure that it doesn't look like you have two brown stripes running down the side of your nose. But what it does do for the face is tie all of this together. Here comes my wig goddess, Nora.
Hi.
You want to put my wig on now?
I do, unless you need a few more minutes.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Nora is head of hair here at Wicked, recently promoted, which we're very proud of her.
Thank you.
It keeps her off the streets.
It does.
The streets of the Bronx, which is where she's from. So this is pinning my microphone cord in. Everybody wears these body mics, which I'm sure everybody knows, but you really have to. When was it, Nora? Was it one time, of course, if your battery goes and your microphone, or the other day I popped my little cap off, and that I had to run around backstage and get it because it can affect how the sound is picked up. Here's Madame Morrible's big wig, which, as you see, when it goes on with the makeup, then the makeup doesn't look quite so extreme. It sort of goes together. Yeah, this is really the glamorous part, putting on my socks with my arch supports. Because we're on a raked stage in Wicked. And when I was here the first week, they said, okay, and then you'll be going to your rake seminar. And I was like, my what? Rake seminar. When you dance on a rake, I don't know how they do it. To even stand on a rake stage, I mean, the first night I did the show, I thought, I'm going to tip over and roll into the orchestra pit, because it was like, oh! And actually, Shoshona Bean did slide into the orchestra pit. That's kind of legend. She went running down as Elphaba and just went right into the orchestra pit. I wasn't there, but I've heard tell of it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get in my corset, which we don't need to video. And then I'll step into my first outfit, and then you can, if you want to come in and see me getting into that. This is Madame Morrible, Act 1. Yards and yards and yards and yards of fabric. There's a lot of sleeve acting, or slackting, as we call it. I'll turn around so you can see the back.
Can you call the office, please? Call Mary Beth, please.
The bustle. These costumes were made for me in London, actually. My Susan Hilferty, who's our brilliant Tony Award-winning costume designer for Wicked. These are my big rings. And then once I go to work for the Wizard, I have a lot more jewelry, but this is it for now. And my monocle that turns into a spectacle. So this beading is part of one sleeve for Madame Morrible. I always feel like I'm in a Harry Potter movie in this first outfit. So here's my second outfit that I have. This is when I go to work for the Wizard in the Emerald City. And this is silk, of course, embroidered with all these various mythical and what should we call them? They're all different. The Eye of Horus and the triangle, and they're all the Celtic cross. And these are all alchemy symbols that are embroidered in gold beads. And this signifies Madame Morrible's step up in the world. She said, yes, girls, I've risen up in the world. And she goes to work for the Wizard of Oz. And this is the outfit that she goes in. And that's Madame Morrible's coat. There's about 5 different colors of ostrich feathers that are dyed different colors, and they're hand curled with a paring knife. Amazing craftsmanship and beading, and that's cut velvet. And this is a coat that a lot of people lust after. They would like to be wearing it out, clubbing. So those are my costumes, and I love and adore them, and they're the best costumes I've ever had in my entire life, and I feel really lucky. And then, of course, I have to wear one of these to get into them, a corset. But that's okay, that's fabulous too. So that's it, I'm really pretty much done. I'm not on right away, but I go and I sit backstage because I like to keep my head in the game. Wicked is a big, fast-moving musical, and it's sort of my ritual that I sit backstage through the opening number and listen to it, and I sing along. When I first did it in Chicago, I said, I could sing along with the rest of the chorus. And then they said, no, that won't be necessary. And your microphone's not on anyway. And I went, yeah, but and they went, no, really, it's okay. And I was like, well, okay. And then I realized later that they didn't really want me to be singing along. So I don't. But I do off stage by myself. So thanks for coming, Broadway.com. I'm just going to get going. And we've got a matinee. All right, Alphaba, get the show on the road.